Mondo yetemenga tezane sevasungwa vatindenge tabata tezane tinotora zeno zemazeno tosera ezeno zose zatorwa komuvenge taora ezeneseka kuro chenjere vano kote mazenze zakananga msangano aya.
Democracy in Africa, it's a difficult proposition because always the opposition will want much more than what it deserves. Yesterday I fought you as an enemy. Today you have become a friend and ally with the same national interest, loyalty, rights and duties as myself.
I believe that Mugabe at one point was a genuine leader of the people, especially when Mugabe led the liberation struggle.
We'll establish a government which is better than the present government.
He would always say all our people must gain an education.
We became the bread basket of the region precisely because of the policies of President Robert Mugabe. It was all there in 1980, 1981, 1982.
President Mugabe seems to believe that he is God's own gift to Zimbabwe.
His preoccupation is just consolidating his grip on power. His grip on power was under threat. He was getting unpopular. So he had actually to take the gloves off.
We are going all out now to crush them, and we will crush them.
So the man's hands are tied behind his back?
Yes.
Tied with wire?
Ah, 46 years, now we're running.
What do you do to a hero or to a father who's gone wayward? What do you do? Can you discipline your hero? Can you discipline your father?
Zimbabwe, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. For some of you who are tuning in for the very first time, we welcome you to the show. This is what we do every Thursday. We come here with different topics that are of concern to us as Zimbabweans, especially the politics side of things. Although we don't talk politics all the time, we sometimes talk about anything that concerns us as Zimbabweans, wherever we are, in the diaspora, in Zimbabwe, everywhere. Nowadays it's quite easy to get to everyone out there. All you need is your internet and you can catch us. This is Zimnet Radio. All you do is, if you've got to tune in up, you can catch us on us. That's the easiest way of tuning in, and just search for Zimnet Radio, and there you have it. Or if you want to be old-fashioned, you just listen on website www.zimnetradio.com. That's all you do. For some of you out there who wants to market your businesses as well, you can do that. marketing@zimnetradio.com. That's our email. Get in touch, and we've got some very good prices here that you can advertise with us. All right. It's 9 minutes after 10 here in the United Kingdom. As we all know what has been happening in Zimbabwe there for the past 3-4 days, First, it was General Chiwenga came out and say what was happening in the ruling party, ZANU-PF, was causing pain to the majority of Zimbabweans, be it social, economic problems that we have on the ground, and they were saying that they were very concerned about the purging of the liberation heroes that were in the ZANU-PF, now people from young G40, they call it, wanting to take over the reins there. But anyhow, we wake up on Wednesday morning to hear that the army has taken over the ZBC, and this is what has been happening there. The army generals are saying that it is not a coup, but we are told that this is indeed a coup by people who know what a coup is about. And we're told that Mugabe was confined to his house, and that he was safe. But anyhow, upon hearing this, the president of South Africa, Zuma, came out live and said he was sending an envoy to Zimbabwe, which he did yesterday. And incidentally, on the same flight was Morgan Tsvangirai, also returning from South Africa, coming back to Zimbabwe after medical checkups there. Now he is in Zimbabwe, and he came out today with a press conference and saying that the president must resign. And later on today, the whole nation was anticipating to hear something, but nothing came out. All we saw was a couple of pictures of the president and the envoy that was sent by Zuma and Sadek, and General Chiwenga as well in there. The body language there, that was the thing that intrigued me. It looks very relaxed. The president was very relaxed, hands in the pocket, shaking hands to the general, laughing and smiling and all that. Now, as of yet, we have got no information of what's happening. It's all speculation, and we really don't want to speculate more, because there's lots of speculation on Facebook, on Twitter, and all that. But I have got a different kind of topic that I want you guys to discuss, and I've got my panelists here today. I'm hoping that a couple more are joining us shortly. But before I do that, let me welcome the ones that I've got here. Sekuru, a good evening to you there in Birmingham.
Good evening, Maswera. Say you are Unit Main Radio.
Thank you so much, Sally. How is South Africa today?
It's alive. Good evening, Zimbabweans. Good evening, Masikuru. Good evening, Wilbert. Good evening, DJ Sodza.
Wonderful. Koma Wilbert, how is Manchester tonight?
It's a bit chilly, but it's not too bad. How is everybody? Hello, Sally. Hello, Sekuru, Birmingham.
You muzukuru ndanda kusuwa.
We've got really important issues we want to tackle today. Let me maybe start with you, Koma Wilbert, whilst we are there. Should we be rejoicing at this point, or should we be mourning?
At what has happened in Zimbabwe?
Yes.
Well, the tragedy is that this could be, the situation at the present moment is so fluid. It could go either way. If it had brought in democratic, or a chance for democratic change, then yes, we can celebrate. But there is nothing that one can say will guarantee that we're going to have democratic change. And that is where the problem is. At the present moment, the negotiations with internal negotiations with ZANU-PF are purely internal, in the sense that is G40 at one point looked like they were on top, and now it looks like that is the Mnangagwa faction that is on top. And I can tell you, Kuti, Mnangagwa faction is not a democratic faction, just as much as the G40 was not democratic. So we are still facing some serious problems, and it's not going to be easy finding a solution to those problems. We need the reforms implemented to stop the dictatorship, not just replace one dictator for another.
So, Mkoma Wilbert, so are you telling me that we are better off than we were on Sunday today, or we are worse off?
Well, I think in terms of on Sunday, it looked like the G40 was on top, but now it looks like it's the Mnangagwa faction that is on top. What I'm saying is, what we must not make the mistake of thinking, Kuti, you know, we are making advances if we are choosing between one evil, the lesser evil than another. You know, yes, I think most people at the present moment would say probably Mnangagwa is a lesser devil than grace. But what I'm emphasizing there, and I would like to emphasize again, is that we should not be looking at making a choice between a lesser evil. We should be looking at making a choice of ending the evils, the dictatorship, and having a democratic, a healthy and functional democracy. And that is the choice we've got to make. To make that choice, we've got to reject both the Grace G40 faction and the Mnangagwa faction. We've got to reject the dictatorship, the ZANU PF dictatorship, regardless of which faction is in power.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mkoma Wilbert, for that. Again, the Pana Sally, you have seen what has been happening, and you know the question I want to ask people here. Is there anything to be happy about what has happened, or really this is like a mourning situation now? The democracy is gone in Zimbabwe. How can the army, all of a sudden wanting to take over and try and dictate things there? Is that democratic? That's the question here. Are Zimbabweans supposed to be rejoicing now or mourning?
Zimbabweans should be running for the hills, okay, and feeling highly embarrassed. There is nothing to celebrate. Nothing has changed, okay? Nothing is going to change. And if you think that Mnangagwa and Chiwenga are going to now suddenly take power, you are demented, all right? Because I'm telling you, Mugabe never lost power. Okay? This whole thing is smoke and mirrors. Completely and utterly. The only problem that none of them have seen or thought about or foreseen, okay, is the army. That army is so dicey. It will take one thing to set that army off, okay, and then I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that business of seeing Mugabe shaking Chiwenga's hand. Chiwenga looks like he's going to die of fright, and Mugabe's having a joke. So now is the South African envoy and that Catholic priest there to negotiate, okay, the life of Chiwenga and Mnangagwa. Seriously? You know, listen, when you have the first suspicious thing about that, okay, is how long did it take the bloodless coup to get to the ZBC? Then once they got to the ZBC, okay, how many times did they broadcast? I think once, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, right, get rid of that one. They then go and surround the Chinese Blue Palace Okay? Now, maybe I'm just because I'm street, I'm uneducated, so I'm very stupid. I have never heard of a coup like that in my life.
Right, okay. I'm sorry, Sally. Tete ku Germany. Makasimba here. Yeah. Tinofara chose ndakutumira message kuseri kama yona.
Ndaiona. Thank you very much.
Ndokumbirawo, please. All right. That's fine. Sally, please go ahead.
You know, and then you see, I know Sekuru and Chief Soswe are going to bite my head off, but that's quite fine. Okay, I'm headless anyway at the moment. You know, I was sitting today and just things were going through my very burnt out old mind, okay? And I thought, hang on a minute, I've seen this before. GNU, when the winner negotiates with the loser, okay? But now, it's the loser negotiating with the winner to take the winner out. Please, you people, come. Whoever believes that you are going to negotiate with Mugabe for Mugabe to step down, please do yourself a favor, okay? Find some truck and play with the traffic and lie down on the road. Okay. Because really, there is no way in this million eternal lifetimes Mugabe will step down. Forget it.
Right.
And you see, this is where I don't believe that Mnangagwa and Chiwenge ever really, maybe Mnangagwa, but Chiwenge, okay, Chiwenga, ever really was going to do a coup. There was something there, get rid of Kashikuwere, get rid of Moyo. Chombe, I don't understand why you get rid of Chombo, okay? But Kashikuwere and Moyo, I can understand.
All right. Yes. Okay. So, Sally, thank you so much for that. You're saying that there is no way that Mugabe is going to resign and surrender power. Absolutely none. Okay. So there is nothing to rejoice about.
Never.
Okay. All right.
No way.
Okay. That's fine, Sally. Thank you so much. Sekuru, what's your take on this? Anything for us to write home about, or this is disaster for us?
It's a concoction of several things. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative, very negative. Perhaps let me start with the positive so that people can understand. The fact that Chiwenga has shown that Mugabe is easy, I see.
Yes.
That is a very positive development for politics, because what we have spent a good part of 17 years trying to do or to achieve has been achieved in 24 hours by Chiwenga and a platoon of soldiers. Now we know that Mugabe can be tamed very quickly and without any resistance, and that is very positive. The second thing is the positive development is that Marujata has been silenced, completely silenced. That's a very positive development, because that woman had gone completely bonkers. And she was tearing apart everybody, not just the ruling party, but also the opposition ranks, because of a whiplash tongue. Now, the negatives now far outweigh these positives, because, for a start, we are a constitutional democracy, and the constitution is being mutilated by the army to say we can use that to interfere in party politics matters. The job of the National Army is not to defend a political party alone or somebody in a political party. The job of the National Army is to guarantee our safety against any external or internal threats to our national well-being. Now, what has been happening in ZANU could be classified as a threat in that it was now negating the purpose of government, because the ruling party was no longer concentrating on governance. It was now concentrating on internal strife within the party. But to the extent that there was nobody intending to kill anybody in those internecine fights within ZANU, the military had no right, or the military commander had no right whatsoever, or constitutional mandate whatsoever, to take the army into party politics and pretend that he was resolving a national issue. That was completely misplaced. The second thing is, now that he has tasted the sweetness of victory in terms of arresting a sitting president and also the commander-in-chief of the defense forces, he has arrested his only boss. He has created a dangerous precedent where if the army feels somebody is not the ideal president, they can just do the same on him.
Yes, that was the next question. You know, what is this for our future? But anyway,
so now those are frightening things for the opposition, and the opposition itself would like to go into a constitutional government where they win elections. But how are they going to campaign? Because if Chiwenga decides no opposition should campaign, then that's the law. He has become the law unto himself.
Oh yeah.
And that is a very dangerous precedent. We are hoping it never gets to that, but at the present moment we cannot say we have got something to celebrate in that regard. So basically that's my own view, and I think it's shared by a few intelligent or mature people, not intelligent, but mature people who can see that this thing is a spark that can become a forest fire.
Ajwa, thank you so much Sekuru for that detailed explanation. And diskuziwa Chief Sose, Chief Sose, what do you make of this? Any reason to celebrate here, or it's doom and gloom, especially for the army to test the waters in this way? This is unconstitutional, undemocratic, and all you name it.
Magadi DJ, Magadi Mori Zimbabwe. My stance hasn't changed. It's still the same as it was before the coup, during the so-called not coup, so-called coup or not. I don't know whatever name they are giving it, but my stance remains the same. That this is not our struggle. This has always been the struggle between ZANU-PF G40 and ZANU-PF La Costa. And whatever happened ensued, yes, maybe the Zimbabwean people were going to get one or two crumbs from there, but it has never been our fight. So there was nothing to celebrate. There is still nothing to celebrate. It can only get worse as we keep going. It's nothing to write home about, really. I've always maintained that our struggle has been, it's a very complicated struggle, because there were people, and I always used to talk about this, whom together would go in the trenches, would go in the streets, and they'll be shouting, Mugabe must go. And personally, and with the others, we have always said, Mugabe and his system must go. So right now, we are at that station where those people who are saying Mugabe must go are saying we have arrived. You know, some of these so-called activists are not promising Kwaranzi, and opposition. Now we are clearly seeing where they belong. They belong to the La Costa faction. And that was the faction that I was always saying Mugabe must go. Mugabe only. As long as you remove Mugabe to them, that was their destination. Us, we are still going. Because we want Mugabe and his whole entourage. Because there is no difference between Mnangagwa and Mugabe. We all know that Mnangagwa is filthy rich. We all know that Mnangagwa is as ruthless as Mugabe. We all know that they were doing things together.
Tete Chimbomea wapedzise Tete will come to you. Endelea zvekiperi Chief Sos.
Yes. Saka inini apana chinenge chachinja muZimbabwe if we remove an older dictator and replace him with a younger and even more ruthless dictator. What we want as Zimbabweans has always been to remove that whole system, and we were getting closer there. ZANU-PF was at its weakest. ZANU-PF was, everywhere, all over the place. And we are still insisting that we want to go to those 2018 elections. No matter what they do here in between, I don't care. I'm not even following. We want to go to those 2018 elections so that we usher in a democratically elected government. And that is what I stand for, and I will continue to do that. I honestly, I don't care what happens to Mugabe. I don't care what happens to EG. Like now, as we are hearing that Mugabe is agreeing to go. But all he's saying is, I want a neutral person. And the army is saying they want Mnangagwa. Why are they trying to impose a candidate on the people of Zimbabwe? Why can't we have a neutral person? So, as Zimbabweans, if we celebrate this, what the army has done, what Tuenga is doing, he can still do it 2 years from now or 3 years from now. Because you will say no one, anyone who doesn't have liberation credentials will not take over this country. If he is let go to keep on going the way he's going,
Right. Okay. So thank you so much, Chief Sose, on that. Tine vanhu vakawanda, so toda kuti tifambe mberi tinzwe kune vamwe. Regai ndiende pana Tete wemashoko. Tete wemashoko, ndiri kuchingamidzai pachirongwa cheThe Men's Corner. Maswera sei?
Taswera mposho. Maswera sei nevamwe vese.
Aiwa, tinofara chose. You have been following the events in Zimbabwe. Reason for you to be rejoicing, or it is worse than it was before this coup, whatever they are calling it, whether it's a coup or not? Worse off?
But there's nothing to celebrate. People should learn to listen how people use certain words and the meaning of those words. You know what, where initially it was just seeing Sodza sitting vachita a press conference that automatically got my back up. In saying that, I kind of understood where they were coming from, in the sense the previous week there were two pathways. One was for my youth going in the streets and just saying, enough of this nonsense here, Grace, we want change. And we were some of us prepared for loss of blood to some extent, because hakuna power inongoitwa handover. If anybody says they saw this coming, Yana Chivengo coming in and having a coup in Southern Africa, they will be lying. So the other thing that kind of concerned me was how systematic, within 48 hours of whatever the first Nankere interview, how systematic everything was implemented. Certain people being targeted and snatched, willing to use Futi. And not only that, going Kuna Mugabe and containing him. It was well planned, took long. And that actually taught me and reinforced something that I've always known about people. Never say you know somebody. You don't know them at all. And But not only that, yes, you know, sit back and say, you know what, enough of this nonsense. The moment people used the words, vananinga vana kuenda kuhondo, isusu takaenda kuhondo. Saka from within vanhu vakaenda kuhondo, tisu tiri kufa ku one of us should kunyukurwa. Hell no. Hell no. Here is why. It's about the right person, for the right moment, for the right people. This is a tussle. Yemaburu mudangari mechete. One buru rishiti, I'm stronger than the other and I deserve years. No, it's my turn. Hell no. To hell and back. This is about people who have suffered for so long, who deserve an independent person, neutral, to come in. The moment Masoja akatora power, they had said, you know what, this is going to be for 3 months, maximum 3 months. Within 3 months, we are going to ask for support from SADC, from international organizations to facilitate free and fair elections. Vanhu vanga vari in the arena, vanga vachirwa, vana tsvangirai, vanani vese, come in. Pindai itai zvamunofanirwa kuita. But you have 3 months, and then we are going to hand power. Meanwhile, in the interim, we need vanhu, and to make sure kuti isusu as a military, our job is security for the country, not one particular person or party. Tikungobata matom. Saka isusu tine vanhu to make sure kuti isusu we are going to keep our word. Tikuda vanhu 2 or 3 vanenge vachitibatsira to have interim management here the country, to foster confidence and to help us through the transition to the next government. So for what is being said, no, no, at all, no. Vanhu hapana zveku celebrate, and if people have been napping vachinwa zamu evunakidzwa nekuya mazama kuti change, there is no change that is coming. Iye zvino ma opposition parties kutsika madziro kuti no and no and no. Mnangagwa azviite is just as bad, if not worse, than Mugabe. It's not happening.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Yes. I also got a couple of messages here. Tete Mashopo is right on the money today. Thank you so much. Ku Germany uko tete no mazulu maspera say. What's your take on this one? A reason for rejoicing, or this is a disaster for us? What is just taken place?
It is a disaster for everybody. You know, it's very unconstitutional for the army to take over power. It did not matter kuti ningi Vamgabe Sakara, you know, is old. But any constitutional powers is also. So you can't now say as an army we are taking over the power from him. You know, kune clause kuningi ku SADC. You know, in that region, they are not going to recognize any military intervention. You know, in those countries of SADC. I don't know how Chiwenga thought it out, it will be possible, you know, and he was waiving a constitution. You are supposed to know as a military person, if he waives a constitution like that, a Zimbabwean constitution, you still needed to think there is another SADC constitution, you know, that tells us there can never be any military intervention in the SADC region. Because there is a problem, there is a serious problem. Precedence, if it happened in Zimbabwe, it can also happen in Mozambique or South Africa or Namibia or any region in Southern Africa. And they want to avoid that. You know, I am very, pleased about what SADC has done so far. You know, they have sat down with Mugabe, who was very arrogant. He simply said, I'm not sitting down, making it very difficult ahead because without Mugabe stepping down, they can now go ahead and do what they want. It's not so much, the military doing what they want. Much as we want to see Mugabe going away, but we want, democratic ways in which we can remove Mugabe from the party, from the country altogether. But not in this way. This was clumsy, this was untidy, this was unhygienic. I don't know how they thought about it, I still, I'm shaking my hand how they would waive the constitution and declare a coup, and then they say it's not a coup. I'm puzzled up to now. I have no words really, but I'm glad that Sodza has got his way of dealing with such things, and that woman, I'm happy it was a woman who was there. She put sense in the whole lunacy that was going around in that meeting, this afternoon. Thank you very much.
All right, aiwa ndatenda zvangu tete for that. Rekaenda pana vapfepfeya.
There's something there, DJ.
Tine vanhu vakamirira ndongokupai 1 minute mko.
All right. It was just a quick question on for you to clarify.
Okay, go ahead.
Tete Nomazulu, welcome. It's nice to have to hear from you. But would you agree that we are caught in a catch-22 here? Because you are saying we want sanitary elections, and yet we have failed to hold sanitary elections because Mugabe has been rigging elections. So he rigs elections, and we can't get him out through free and fair elections. And if we can't get him out through a coup, how the hell are we going to get him out?
The chief rigger has been Mnangagwa.
All right, okay. Aiwa, batai makadaro. Ndoda kuti ndidzwe kuna Wapfepfe. Wapfepfe, what's your take on all this which is just unraveling before our eyes? Nobody saw this coming. I don't think even you saw this coming. But it puzzles everybody. The question I have here today is, a lot of people are rejoicing, and I wonder, what are people rejoicing about? Is there anything to rejoice about, or this is a mere disaster for us?
Thank you, DJ Sodza. I think we are at the edge of chaos, and every minute must be audited with caution here. Yes, I've seen other people celebrating, but I think it's too early to celebrate. We cannot dismiss the current situation. Maybe we need a few days until officially the whole scenario unfold and official announcements have been done. Again, this is exactly what MDC has been saying all along, that we've got a dysfunctional government, and we need to reflect on how did we get here in the first place. I think of recent we've seen that the politics that ZANU-PF were peddling were actually toxic politics. Peddled by Grace and the G40, we saw how they were actually abusing the churches last weekend. We, the opposition parties, we would have wanted even to do better than the army, but to be honest with you, we were also onlookers because this was happening within ZANU-PF itself. And the coming in of the army, the intervention by the army, in a so-called unconventional coup d'etat. That's what they are saying, because they are saying it's not a conventional coup. We are saying we have to be, yes, I know that there was that sort of expression to say they are not intending to take power, they intend to have a process whereby they root out the criminals. And I think, yes, I also read in between from Mnangagwa in which he was signaling a direction where there is a transitional process. So yes, In terms of Mugabe going, hopefully, if Mugabe is going, which is too early to confirm that, and to finally we've got an official position, then it would be good news. Good news as far only if that is going to usher a sort of a transitional process where the transitional authority is going to put in place a framework of free and fair elections where all stakeholders are able to freely campaign and freely participate in a democratic dispensation. So this is the position, and that's the position of the MDC, and this is also my position. Other than that, we are not any option other than a transitional authority that is actually democratic, which encompasses the stakeholders. If it's the army taking over power, then I think we will be in a worse off scenario. But if it ushers in a transitional process by stakeholders to make sure that we implement the constitution, to make sure that we implement all the necessary framework for free and fair election, only then can we start celebrating. Right. At the moment, every minute is a caution.
Is a caution. Okay, thank you so much. I don't know, but Mkoma Teach, what's your take on this one?
Mkoma Sodza.
Yes, Bob.
Already my Zimbabweans, it really double-pronged.
Yeah.
Because we've been so traumatized for too long, and we've been waiting and waiting for Mugabe to die for change to come. We have tended to always put our wishful thinking ahead of our logical thinking. So when the army seemed to have got rid of Mugabe, everyone just jumped in on the bandwagon. They didn't think even, what are these guys doing it for? What is behind all this? That if you can laugh with your...
Tete, I tell you what I'll do is I'll do this. Okay, go ahead.
So what is happening is then that because we wanted so much to get rid of Grace, especially with the way she was behaving of late. She had completely lost it. And people were like, can someone come and shut her up, please? Can someone kick her? Or even within ZANU-PF Koko. So the whole national mood, we got embroiled in ZANU-PF succession politics to a point that ZANU-PF succession politics took over the national discourse that is supposed to be between the opposition and ZANU-PF, with actual members of the opposition rooting for a faction, this faction or that faction in ZANU-PF, to the point that in that mood we ended up sanitizing people like Mnangagwa. He started becoming a relevant force because it was assumed he was the one that could shut up Grace. And he failed to a point that he got fired, that he needed to be rescued himself by the military. Now, the military having come in and done what it has done, which was to get itself embroiled in the internal politics of ZANU-PF, which in effect told the nation and the world that the military is saying we are members of ZANU-PF. So all this time we thought this is the Zimbabwe National Army. They are actually an extension stakeholder of ZANU-PF. So the issue is once they got involved in the politics of ZANU-PF and intervened the way they did, it was intervening using national resources, national uniform, a national key structure to intervene in their political interests. So these generals are already wrong and guilty of serious crimes of sedition, mutiny, and treason because they have used the taxpayer-funded National Defense Forces for their partisan ZANU-PF internal issues. And as a consequence, they could not suspend the national constitution because no one was in violation of the national constitution. Their issue was within ZANU-PF, a political party with no locus standi in terms of the national constitution. So whatever they are doing there has got nothing to do with all of us, but we have become part of the drama because of our expectation, our wishful thinking that but they've made it clear that they don't want war veterans chased from ZANU-PF. That's their bone of contention. They're not worried about unfair elections that are going on. They're not worried about the corruption. It's now a smoke screen to buy our hearts and minds. To start saying, oh, their list of goods being released. Ivo vachiwenga vachirambana nemukadzi wavo uya nenzani mauchazo. His list of Rolex watches, cars, property stands, houses, the list is not consistent with the salary of a serving general in a third world country. It's more like a millionaire in Hollywood, even better than a millionaire in Hollywood. So himself to come out and start saying he is coming to retain sanity and start claiming that he is dealing with the likes of Anachombo. No, he's dealing with them only because within the factions they were winning against their faction. That's it. It's got nothing to do with us. It's got nothing to do with national politics. It's to do with the internal ZANU-PF politics. Even right now as we stand, Sadak is saying, okay, is it a coup, is it not a coup, is it a dark, is it not a dark? Because at the end of the day, it's a ZANU-PF coup. The leadership of ZANU-PF guaranteed the leadership of the president of the state. So as it is right now, the whole international excitement about it is people are not understanding that outside they think these people have come to attack the government. They haven't taken over ministries. Permanent secretaries and civil servants are still able to go and do their work. If you want to go and get your passport, you can get your passport without military officers. So they have taken the ZBC primarily to further their own interests and their propaganda. And that's another further abuse of the state institution for a partisan fight that they are in. They're trying to recall their own president from the presidents of ZANU-PF. They want to get rid of Mugabe as the president of ZANU-PF. They are one center of power, the monster they themselves created when they wanted to get rid of Dr. Mugabe. So at the end of the day, the situation that we have is not what it looks like. People are running around chasing a completely different issue altogether. And that's what Mugabe is killing everyone, because Mugabe is smart enough. He knows exactly what it is that these guys are after. And he knows exactly what it can and cannot do. So for them to be able to bring in their men and he can start picking ministers and changing government, he has to be a ZANU-PF presidential candidate. They do not have anyone of that stature. Any other president, be it vice president or whatever, is a Mugabe appointee. For him, it is pleasure to hire and fire. And as we speak right now, Emerson Mnangagwa remains at state level legally fired. He cannot participate in the negotiations. As you saw, he's still outside the country, he's not in the country, and he cannot participate in the negotiations. He is going to be simply a puppet of the military that will negotiate and get a kind of agreement. And then if Emerson Mnangagwa comes, he really comes as 100% a puppet of the military. In other words, the military will have taken over ZANU-PF, and consequently the leadership of the state, because ZANU-PF currently has got the elected president in terms of the national constitution. That's where the conflict come, and the opposition can actually then take them up and sue them to say that we are not the elected president. That's why they need the legitimacy of Mugabe's success appointed by Mugabe. Whoever they want, Mugabe has to actually appoint that person.
Okay. Mkomatich. Right. Okay. Mkomatich, again, but it's never more panel, but I just want to ask you a quick question there. Now, when we say that Mugabe is the commander-in-chief, were military, is he not the one who is supposed to go and tell them kutichita zakat, and if they want to do something, don't they go through Mugabe first before they trigger anything to this sort that they've done? So who is the boss then if Mugabe didn't trigger this?
Like I have said, it's an internecine war between themselves in terms of the succession war. It's the ongoing succession war of ZANU-PF. Suddenly, their candidate, their preferred candidate, for whatever reasons, which I've explained before, is that General Chiwenga has served these 2 5-year terms, and both Chiwenga, Chihuri, Zimondi, Parents Shiri, and various other senior generals, Nikayaramba, etc., have served their 2 5-year terms, which are constitutionally limited. Every general at the top must serve 2 5-year terms. So specifically, Chihuri, Zimondi, Chiwenga, and Shiri should have been retired by operation of law. But the president has got the freedom or the pleasure to roll their contracts, but by 1 year at a time, after they have completed their 2 5-year terms.
Okay, all right.
We've been holding them at ransom on the basis of that. Those 5-year terms are expiring at the end of December, and that is always the case every year. Then he renews it. That's when Mugabe goes away after renewing them, and everyone is happy when Mugabe goes away. Then after renewing their contract, then he goes away for his 1 month leave in Singapore or Malaysia.
Okay.
That's what has been happening. Now Mugabe is not going to be renewing them, and they need someone else who have already gone in there so that he will renew them. And right now, they're in a catch-22 situation. If Mugabe does not play ball, their contracts will expire on the 31st of December, and automatically they are retired by operation of law. Anything else they will do after that will be 100% illegal. They can't use the cantonment, they can't use the military, they have to come out as politicians.
Okay.
And Mugabe knows that.
All right. Aiwa, ndatenda zvangu mukoma teach for clarifying that, which left a very bad taste in my mouth. That really, this really reinforced the situation that Kanamuruguti, maybe these people have got 2 5-year terms. These people, the president should not have the power to even renew it yearly. These are the constitutional things that Mukoma Wilbert talks about. These are the reforms that we need in this country, that no president should have those. You know, we have to learn from these kind of lessons, because these people, they are thinking they are there for eternity. That's my 2 cents on that. But we want to hear from our Warepa Nareo. Hello, Pasimnet Radio up. Teteko America.
Sorry, just quickly,
yes.
Just one. Yeah. Point was when Mnangagwa is put in by the army, and these guys, by operation of law, they have to retire. The CGF becomes deputy president.
Right.
He's looking at himself.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Kwa America, hello, Pasimnet Radio. That landline, kwa America. Aikas. All right. Shandakucha panapaka regaiti mbomwira mvura pichana. Let's take
Zamunenge matora badara zamnotenga nenzira zakanaka moto zeno zote zamunenge matora tesale tinotora zeno zemazedo zotera zeno zote zotura komorenge Laura ezenetika kuru jengererano kuti masenze sese zakananga msangano tisaite cheupombwe muhondo yechemwenga tesanese vasungwa vatinenge tabata tisaite cheupombwe muhondo yechemwenga tesanese vasungwa vatinenge tabata tisaite tinotora zvinhu zvemasero toserae zvinhu zvose zvatorwa kumuvengi taura ezenesika kuru chenjere vano kuti masenze sese zvakananga msangano aya ndiwo mashoko akataurwa kare naevo vamau vachitizezesa aya ndiwo mashoko akataurwa kare naevo vamau vachitizezesa tisa tinotora zvinhu zvemasero toserae zvinhu zvose zvatorwa kumuvengi taura ezenesika kuru chenjere vano kuti masenze sese zvakananga msangano kunenzera dzemasoja.
It is a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's a men's corner show with yours truly, DJ Sodza.
Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.
This is a disclaimer. The opinions expressed by contributors during radio call-in shows are solely those of the individual callers and do not reflect the opinions of Zimnet Radio, DJs, presenters, managers or administration. Listeners are encouraged and advised to seek the services of qualified professionals for their personal problems.
In touch with the best online station, Zimnet Radio.
Zimbabwe. 4 minutes gone after the hour of 11. This is Zimnet Radio. We are just discussing the events that were taking place in Zimbabwe since Monday. And we are just dissecting what it means for us as Zimbabweans, what has happened, all the excitement out there. The consensus I'm getting here, there's absolutely nothing to be excited with. In actual fact, this is potentially, it is just an infight in the ZANU PF. And Mukomatish is saying that even the international community, they are absolutely in the dark about this. They think there's something going on there, but actually there's nothing going on. It's just an infight between G40 and Lacoste in there, and the president is well in control with things. So there's nothing to be happy about. But here is another guy who is saying Zimbabweans are happy. All ordinary Zimbabwean citizens are celebrating because parties like NPP, MDC have failed to all unite and inspire the nation. Zimbabweans are desperate and the opposition has failed to form a formidable force against ZANU-PF. That's the fundamental problem that we've got. So at the moment, the fact that, it has brought, media to Zimbabwe to say, oh, maybe Mugabe might resign and all that, it has captured the nation because they are so desperate for anything to happen because the opposition is completely and utterly failed. But anyhow, I don't know. I don't know what's the way forward. Right, Mukoma Wilbert, what do you think is the way forward now? What is going to happen in the coming days and weeks? From what I'm hearing here, everything is going to go back into place and the president is there and Madam Stoppy to be on the trail again. Is that it?
Well, from my reading of it as well is that the president is likely to resign or be eased out of his office. But I think what is going to happen next then is Mnangagwa will take over. And like Chich was explaining there, it will be just an internal affair in ZANU-PF to say Mugabe, for whatever reason, is no longer president and he is the new president. And that will be formalized and he will be sworn in and he will be the next president. But what can happen then is that he is entitled to save the remainder of Mugabe's presidency, which has got to end at the very latest, 1st of August next year. So Mnangagwa has got something like 8 months to be president. And the chances are he is not going to hold the elections next year because he knows that in that short period he will not have changed the economy significantly to win the confidence of the ordinary Zimbabweans. Right now, many people are saying, yes, the army has done the right thing, we finally got rid of Mugabe. But I think with time, people will sober up and realize that we actually, like what Saleh was saying there, that we actually need more than just changing one dictator and replacing it with him with another. We need to change the dictatorship itself, ZANU-PF. Now, the dilemma for Mnangagwa would be, if he was to hold the elections next year, he either has got to rig them, because that's the only way he's going to stay in power. If they are free, fair, and credible, he will lose them. And I can tell you now, it doesn't matter. People are so desperate to get rid of the dictatorship. They don't care who they vote in his place. They will vote anybody to get rid of ZANU-PF. So Mnangagwa's choice is very grim. So the chances are he would be tempted to have a transition authority and try to postpone the elections. The only problem he has there is he has got to say, why are you postponing the elections? For him to turn around and say, oh, it's because we have had problems in ZANU-PF. Those are internal problems. That's nothing to do with the country. Your task as ZANU-PF was to prepare for the next elections. You knew from the time when you got into power in 2013 that 5 years down the line, you've got to deliver free, fair, and credible elections, and so that there's a change of government. But for them to try to postpone that and have this National Transition Authority is totally unacceptable, because strictly speaking, we'll be rewarding them for failing to prepare for elections. That is what is at stake here. We know that there are some people who will be very keen to join into this National Transition Authority or GNU number 2, simply because they're desperate to get into power. That is not acceptable. When we come to, if they fail to hold free and fair elections, ZANU-PF will have to stand aside, and then somebody has got to come up, the nation as a whole has got to decide on where to go first, next. ZANU-PF cannot be involved. ZANU-PF and their friends in MDC were in the last GNU, and they failed to deliver any democratic changes for free and fair elections. For them to say, oh, we can do it now, is ridiculous. Why didn't you do it before? So that is where we are, and I think the Zimbabweans should focus their minds on, we want free, fair, and credible elections next year. If you fail to deliver that, stand aside, then we would want the SADC or the AU or the UN, and I think those bodies are willing and keen to participate, particularly SADC. This chaos in Zimbabwe has been a shot across the board for SADC, because they realize now that Zimbabwe, if this chaos is not sorted out, it could drag the whole region into political and economic chaos. And that SADC leaders with any brain at all will know that will be catastrophic for the region.
Okay. Aiwa, thank you so much, Koma Wilpet, for that. Sally, what do you think is going to pan out in the next days or weeks? Back to square one here?
Yes, Mugabe is going to go, he's going to emerge, which he was from the very beginning. You see, people, just a quick diversion. When that army guy was giving his speech on ZBC radio, which I was listening to at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning when it first happened, my first, wait a minute, this is not right. When he turned around and he said, and we just want the nation to know that the Mugabe family is safe and blah, blah, blah. Oh, hang on. Whoa, wait, stop. Why are you worrying about the Mugabe family if you're supposed to be taking power from the Mugabe family? Listen, power was never going to be taken from the Mugabe family. Mnangagwa is never going to get in there as nothing. It's going to go back to Mugabe in power, at the head of the state. I don't know if Grace is going to come out and start her mouthing. I have no idea about that. Okay, personally, I can see her doing it. And you know what? When Mugabe comes out this time, he has complete and utter control, 2,000%. 2,000%. And anybody that wants to sit in a negotiation with ZANU-PF after everything, I'm sorry. I do not agree to it. I do not buy into it. I don't care. You can stand here until 1,000,000 years trying to explain it to me. Forget it. Forget it. If you people haven't suffered enough, after 37 years, I have, and I'm out the country, but damn it, I've suffered, and I've suffered enough. I'm not going to agree to any negotiations with ZANU-PF. You want to negotiate with the lion that's going to eat you. You know he's going to eat you. Now you want to negotiate with him. Please don't eat me, or please kill me slowly. Kill me only with one tooth instead of two. Please, come on. Please.
Right. Okay. Sally, it looks like you're very emotional about it, and you know
I am upset.
Yes, very upset. Okay. Let me read this a short message from a very loyal listener. He's saying that if only people listened to what General Chiwenga said, they would not be excited at all. He said he has no issues with Robert Mugabe. They were after those around him. Robert Mugabe stays as president. The negotiations are to try and get Mnangagwa back, not to get Mugabe out. Did you notice there was only one Chiwenga and Robert Mugabe had his security ministers around him through those pictures? But anyway, this is what this listener is saying. Regarding Panemi, Chief Sose, what do you think is going to pan out in the next day or two, or in the next month? Back to square one, President Mugabe there, Madam Stop It on the trail, and Mnangagwa nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit that I'm going with what my number one enemy, in court, Koma Wilbert was saying. Everything that he said is very true. Everything that Sally said is also very true. I'll just add to what Wilbert was saying, that when Mnangagwa, when he comes into power, he's going to try and justify postponing elections by coming up with a transitional authority. The transitional authority obviously will mean he's going to reach out to some opposition parties and maybe some civic movement, so that he is seen to be someone who is trying to bring change. But in essence, all he's trying to do is to justify why he's going to postpone elections. And then he will say, this is almost like a new government, we need time. And then you will start reaching out to our politicians. And I'm telling you, he is only reaching out because he's trying to justify what he's doing. Not that he wants to work with Morgan Tsvangirai, not that he wants to work with Maim Juru or Jacob Garuvume or any of these people. It's not about the opposition. And certainly, it's not about the people of Zimbabwe. And if us as opposition go into those negotiations, as Sari was saying, if we go into those negotiations, walking with our hands in our pocket, thinking that, now we are going to be leaders again, we are going to be in government, we are going back to the same thing that we did when we did the first unity government. And these people are not playing. These people want to remain in power by any means possible. We are seeing it right now. And they are not going to waste time. And our negotiators, or whoever is going to go in negotiating, if they are going in right in Zara, those ones are going to negotiate in Zara. Opposition in Zara. They will just get in there and get outwitted, outsmarted. We have been outsmarted before. Nobody is going to tell me that they are going to go onto that negotiating table and negotiate sense. Nobody will still be outsmarted. So this, to me, that's why I'm saying I'm not part of this. I'm not joining this charade. It's not us. If I was the leader of the opposition, if I was part of them, I would not even join. I would not even entertain joining that. And I'm telling you, Mnangagwa and whoever will take over in ZANU-PF, they cannot afford to do anything in as far as that country on their own. They will need Morgan Tsvangirai for legitimacy. And if Morgan Tsvangirai, if these opposition leaders are smart enough, they will not join. Let Mnangagwa solve, let ZANU-PF solve their own on their own. Let's prepare for our own legitimate elections. Because if Mnangagwa takes over, there is no reason whatsoever why he would postpone elections on his own. Because it's ZANU-PF. He was supposed to take over. He has taken over. He just served the remainder of Mugabe's term. That's it. And we go ahead with elections as planned. And this is the best time. This is where we want ZANU-PF. This is where we've always wanted ZANU-PF to go into these elections weak as ZANU-PF is. Let's not legitimize them. Let's not help them. Let's not help Mugabe or ZANU-PF get to its feet again. 2-3 years from now, I'm telling you, ZANU-PF would have regrouped. We will never remove them. We need to put pressure on them right now. by not legitimizing everything that they're doing.
Aiwa, thank you so much, Chief Sose, for that. Regandi ende panati to Mashoko, what do you think is going to pan out in the next coming days here?
One scenario, the power definitely mgabake kwenda kwenda. I no doubt about that. Kwenda. But once they get power, they're going to dig in kunge indairi mumvudzi. I mean, really dig in. So, in my humble opinion, being a person asiri in the situation, kubvira MDC, mai mujuru, vanaskosana moyo, vanani vari kuzviti opposition parties. If for the past 48 hours you have been sitting back twiddling your thumbs and not raising funds, getting the best lawyers because mnemchitu belongs ukuyakazomira, then you have been playing. Because to get this chance yamuinayo ndosaka vakuru vakati mbudzi kuzvarira pavanhu zvanzi ndidzingirwe imbwa. Mune SADC, you've got the ear yema-British, you've got the ear yema-Americans, you've got the whole world focusing on you. You'll never get this chance ever again. This is where you are going to go in and negotiate and play hardball. It's rather, I think as a people, if this drags on because my needs even are not being met, couldn't be bothered about ZANU-PF. Couldn't, and why should you be brought to a ball that is not yours anyway? Muriba Perekeds, as far as everybody is concerned. Neguti it's ZANU-PF dictating again the same way that they've done. And people are going to sit back and allow them and say, well, let's see how it pans out and hope for the best. Change is better than nothing. Really? People will learn from our mistakes. You don't keep repeating the same mistakes and hoping that somewhere along the line things are going to change. Get your act together, my opposition. We need your voices. We need to hear you. We need to hear what Muruda help ye Vanungava kuku help we appealed. You didn't help us.
Aiwa. Ndafarira masoko amataura kuti Mimi Mugabe is going. Are you sure about that?
I am sure. Here's why he didn't be sure about it. Grace Mugabe, as long as Mugabe is given leeway to kind of stay in the office even for 24 hours, that means whether you like it or not, you can't divorce people. Grace will remain in the power, and Grace, munaza kuti Grace akaita sei akangotambwa atanga kubwaira chete ndoye akangotambwa. Period. Nekuti if she had been given the chance, Munangagwa naye Chiwenga will be 6 foot as we are talking right now. Grace is ruthless. Akangotangirwa chete. So giving him a chance yekuti aite regroup will be the worst mistake that anybody will make. And if you look at the way that they went, vakanotora vanhu, strategic people, it was like a game of chess. They've thought about it. If we allow him, the agreement is, it's more than 48 hours. The only reason why we haven't, vasiri kutaura kuti ndozvakuitika. They are not agreeing on certain terms. Look at any coup that happens. Within 48 hours, either munhu anenge afa or anenge akandwa mujeri. This is not the case. They wanted to have their cake and eat it at the same time, kind of keep Mugabe, kind of appease, but at the same time not really sure. This was messy, as somebody said earlier on. Now, when a situation is messy, clever people actually capitalize on that situation. Situation being, you have the whole world's eyes on you. You have people at the table. Hold them down to that table until your needs are met. Don't be muscled out from the table. Make sure you get your seat, you grab it, you sit on that table, and you demand what you want. This is what is Nankere, my oppositions are failing. We're not hearing kuti opposition years no vana ningi ndo vaenda. Tikuda funding, tikuda kuyezvezvi, tikuda kuti vanhu mutibatsire nezvakati. Nothing, silence. Radio switched off. Serious.
Okay.
Sichino.
Aiwa. Aiwa zvinokudzwa. Thank you so much Tete for that. Mukoma Tichi, what do you think is going to pan out in the next day or two?
ZANU-PF will stabilize. The pictures were meant to stabilize ZANU-PF, the anxiety in the general membership, to understand that those that are pro-Mugabe and his wife know the president is there and alive, and those that are pro-Mnangagwa are the ones that have become anxious because they thought they were running away in the gym. And the gym, but just you know, they thought to get military and they were celebrating too soon. And the opposition and other people were just joining in, not knowing what's being celebrated. But fact that Changira, as sick as he is, and Muchanga came back. Changira had to negotiate when else you should wear out a handy. The whole point is the Mnangagwa faction on its own is unpopular, does not have any mandate. The war veterans are only Victor Matemadanda and Mutranga and the headmen. It's about 5 of those guys who are not going to TV. The rest of the war veterans are spread across the country. One, they can't afford to be coming up and down. 2, they are not part of that, they are part of the Mugabe type of thing. My chiefs are getting road to Motam Suno. As a result, the war between G40 and Lacoste is as clear as daylight. So what is going to happen is that Chiwenga will try as much as he possibly can, but you can already see he's reached a stalemate because it's not his position to make such negotiations at all anyway, as long as he's wearing a uniform. And the worst part is tantamount to trying to tell his commanding officer what to do and how to do it. And it's not going to happen. So Mugabe is going to remain intransigent, pull the decks until the time for the Congress, which apparently is insisting that any changes should be legitimate, legal, and should happen at Congress. He knows that Congress, he's got his people fully paid in all the provinces because they paid all the Lacoste. And the Lacoste know this. That's why they're saying everyone from suspension in 2014 should be allowed back, because then that allows the leveling of the playing field in the ZANU-PF elections, which they don't want to give the opposition the level playing field. And the opposition is joining in this and legitimizing. And they're trying to get false for it and say, okay, we're going to be part of the international problem, we need to be solving it. We're not solving it, anything. ZANU-PF should be allowed to fail on commerce. That's how I see ZANU-PF should be allowed to fail. Any organization, any company is allowed to fail. ZANU-PF is failed. It should be allowed to fail. It's dead, let it decay. Why do you want to rescue it? The point, why do you want to get even involved? Right now, today, if you want to be a company, trying to get out of this way, I'm going in there, and this is also you know, Tauraina and Chamisa, and Chamisa will be Ramadzio. You know, and it is the war escalate between them. And because people find my parties and interests, whatever we sympathize with who I mean, for all his ruthless reputation, Nanga sympathizes with the opposition. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So what's going to happen is that the military know this. I mean, if I know it, the military know it. So the reason why Mnangagwa doesn't want to go for election, he knows he can't win an election. Even against Mugabe, if you say, let's go to Congress and Mugabe says, I am contesting, people choose who you want. He's dared him before. So you find he knows he's going to win. He's lost several times to Chebundo. They had to create a constituency for themselves, Chiruma Zimbabwe, of which him and his wife are the only candidates ever to represent that constituency. Some people say he doesn't have any people that are sufficient to be constituents. So when you look at it from that perspective, how can they win nationally if you couldn't win in the Midlands? In the Masvingo province, they were thrashed by the Juru faction. That's when the Pasina Rodera, Pasina Mandu started. Because they were thrashed by the Juru faction. So if he lost in Masvingo to the Juru faction, and he lost to the Midlands in his own hometown in Kweke several times, how can he win a national election? He knows he can't. So he has to succeed. So Chiwenga has to force him onto the ZANU-PF people. And then they say, he is our candidate. and we are going to be looking at the youth, etc. That's why Kudzai Chipanga was let go. He was arrested by the military, made to apologize, and they let him go because they want to snatch the youth away from G40. That is what is coming out. It's a situation where the opposition are willing bridesmaids in their own oppression.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Right. I normally don't do this, and I can't do it out of line because there's nothing I can do. Teteno Mazulu.
Hello.
Maybe for the benefit of others that are going to join the show and want to participate here, let me just say, if you are on the panel and someone is talking, can we please avoid laughing and do sorts of things? Because what happens is the show becomes like it's a comedy show. So in that said, if you want to be fidgeting and laughing of what people are saying, I know they may be laughing at. What you do is you put your mic on mute so that the listeners don't hear that, because then it becomes like a, my shows aya anaitwa a comedy, aya kuti munhu akataura something vanhu voseka, munhu akataura something vanhu voseka. That's the only reason I tried to send you a message Kuseri, but I think you didn't understand what I was saying on that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. So Tete munofunga kuti imimi, what is going to happen in Zimbabwe in the next day or two?
I have no idea. I really have no idea what's going on.
Right. Okay. What's your take on what's going to happen in the next day or two, or even in the next week? Nothing is going to change?
I think what I think is going to happen in Doyoguti, of course, as I said earlier on, it's too early to celebrate because negotiations are going on. There are two issues, and this is why from the word go I talked about two phases. The first phase, this is why even the opposition and the other stakeholders within the political sphere, they are not involved. This is the SADC and the military. That's phase number one. But what I think is going to happen is Mugabe is going to step down. He has no option. I don't see him regaining ground by any means, hook or crook. Then the next phase is, of course, then there will be a caretaker. In other words, somebody has to to succeed Mugabe. We are talking about from a ZANU-PF perspective, and I think I can see that Emerson Mnangagwa is likely to come in. Okay. At that point, that's a ZANU-PF issue. How they will deal with that, that's their own lookout. But the next thing is that of legitimacy. Yes, next year we are going to for an election, and I don't see. I think it has been alluded as well. I don't see Mnangagwa in the shortest period calling an election. And I can see, although there are some also within the SADC themselves, SADC is of the view that Zimbabwe needs a sort of a transitional framework. But it is not new, because if you look at it, the civic groups in Zimbabwe and also the opposition parties have been advocating for a transitional process that will implement a framework for a free and fair election. And I see that happening. This is a window where when this is settled, then there's this other window where, because the problem is not a military problem. Our problem is a political problem. And I see that happening, whereby there will be a transitional authority in whatever form. I don't know the mechanism, but there is no way that once Mugabe goes, it will be business as usual for Zimbabwe. And then once we've got that transitional authority, it may delay the elections next year whilst all the necessary mechanisms for free and fair elections are in place. Okay? And I'm saying that let it be encompassing all stakeholders. And I can see the need for Zimbabweans to start celebrating. I can see, in terms of the economy of the country, resuscitating as we go towards an all-stakeholder elections, which is free and fair. So this is my own perceptions, and I think a couple of days to come, either will be proved wrong. But I think this is the direction where we are going.
Okay, Aiwa. Thank you so much for that. Well explained. Tetor America, any chance of you talking? It's crucial.
Yes, DJ, I'm sorry. I was at work. You know how much I love this show ever Zimnet, but
okay.
But I wanted to really tune in. But anyway, I'm at home now. So no, within the next 2 days, I see Vamgabe step down, and I see him going kunosika asylum in some Asian country, like Girewavo, Nevanavavo, and I see obviously Mnangagwa coming in as the interim president, and probably Davengwa as the vice. And then that's what I see with it. I mean, that's just how it seems that it'll probably be for me. This was all like a plan that they had that they just made to cause the confusion in the masses. I don't know. I don't think Kionga would be that stupid. A deal again to have Mugabe back in power. Because once he does that, that's it. You know what I mean? His life is over. Because basically a coup, what are the repercussions of a coup? In most countries it's death, right? If not life imprisonment. So I don't see him negotiating with Mugabe. I think the negotiations are probably for him to maybe step down, seek asylum, or something like that, leave the country, or something like that. The other thing I see is what's going on is I don't know how you guys see it, but I think that there might be some influence from England and I think that there might be some influence from the West, because as people said, this coup is not like any other African coup. It was peaceful. People were drinking coffee at restaurants. People were going about their business. Where have you ever seen coup yagadaro? I think this was really well thought out and planned, and I don't think it was just Chiwengo. I think there was some other influence that was in the background. But anyway, I could be wrong, but this is just my take, Shangu.
Thank you, well explained there, Tete. Thank you so much for that. Rekaendende pana mkoma ku Newcastle kuriseko ku Newcastle nas. Ku Newcastle, can you hear me? Mkoma Dinte, are you there? Right, okay. I don't know what's happening there, but anyhow, those are Zimbabwe. It's 23 minutes before midnight kunoku United Kingdom. I can't believe people are saying that Mnangagwa will come back. Mkomatish, can you see that happening?
No, not in my books. But unfortunately, the people currently in charge of the country intend to do exactly that. Now, it's not a question of whether that's what is convenient or popular. It's a question of this is their horse and they have to back it. And they have no alternative. It's the same problem that we are having even in the opposition, where the people that are in positions are the ultimate authority of their political formations. And the issue of succeeding them is depending on whether they themselves want, not whether it's convenient for the party or good for the country or whatever. It doesn't matter. It has become a culture, unfortunately, in Zimbabwe. So if Chiwenga loses Mnangagwa, let's say he's assassinated, he's done for. Because they have to find another country they don't have. This is the problem. That's why you find that the situation that they had with Grace went to the point whereby the demand for the VP position resulted in the firing of Sandy Moyo. Because Sandy Moyo is a senior war veteran, and she was the secretary of the Women's League in the Politburo. That's why her and Mahoka were fired. So once you start understanding how our political organizations are structured, you will see then that Chiwenga has no choice other than the fact that they are friends, good friends and business partners with Vamnangagwa. He really has no other choice of any loyalist that will guarantee the top brass of the military to keep their loot, especially given that they and the Mnangagwa were fingered very highly by the United Nations for the looting of the Congo diamonds. And in here, they were also figured highly in terms of the diamonds of Zimbabwe. So these guys have a much deeper relationship than all the people falling all over themselves supporting what they don't know is about. These guys are really about themselves, they're really about their wealth, they're really about their interest long term, protecting each other, and it's a situation whereby Mnangagwa can go there, he's 75, serve one term, and that guy retires from the army in terms of the law, and he joins the ZANU-PF as the deputy president appointed by Mnangagwa, who already now has the executive powers. At 80 end of the term of the 2018 presidential election in 2023, Mnangagwa is 77 now because he's got 2 birth certificates or birth dates, but they say he's 75, so let's play with 75. In 2023, Mnangagwa will be 81. Chiwenga will already be waiting as a deputy president to take over from Mnangagwa. Opposition neighborhood nowhere. And they will have consolidated, they have continued to use the military to mobilize. Right now you hear them saying we respect the traditional leaders. What's going to happen next is that you will see Chiwenga and the military making sure that whoever becomes the new president after Mugabe has got the good outreach in the rural areas. So we are going to see people being mobilized again in the fashion of Grace Mugabe, but now for the new candidate. And you see again the rural folks being told, don't vote for the opposition. But yet at the moment he's asking, could the opposition be easy to batira? Legitimize. But come election time, name up to this, my agents and my imperial forces. So you end up in a situation that you really, really need to ask yourself whether the opposition should be having any dalliance at all with ZANU-PF instead of allowing it to decay. It's a terrible, terrible situation to land where I feel that the opposition is being really shallow and naive because they are rescuing ZANU-PF and they're rescuing it willingly and hoping that they'll get into a GNU at a time when, legally speaking, you can look at it from any direction. ZANU-PF does not need to have a unity government or a transitional authority. Transitioning from what? We have a constitutional parliament, we have a constitutional president, a constitutional senate. There is no war, there is no civil strife. What transition are we talking about? The GNU there was a dispute with the 2008 elections and the runoff, and that's the reason why we ended up with a GNU. We have no reason for a GNU right now. Anything like that is a smoke screen that ZANU-PF will be controlling 100% with eager, hungry mouths that wants to jump also into the feeding trough.
All right. Mkoma tichi batai makadaro. Mkoma dimtei maapo ira. Hello, Mkoma dimtei ku Newcastle. Can you hear me? Right. Okay.
Yes, Sodza.
Yes.
Yes, that which have been. I think again and again was highlighted. Yoguti Sadak principles does not allow Nyama cause. I think Zimbabweans we are too bookish. We are becoming too academic in our analysis.
So well said.
look, a coup is a coup. It's taken by force. You don't legitimize, you don't legislate a coup. Where else in the world? Yes, you're allowed to do a coup. No. Right? Laws are there to be broken. Makus, yes, the whole world, they are not in the constitution. Those are the coup, taking power by force. And it's, it has happened. And Zimbabwe, yes, this is the first time that Zimbabwe it has happened, and maybe the first time that within the SADC region it has happened. The fact yokuti munhu ane power achari kuabuse power ndiye anokuudza kuti no, the coup is not allowed in this country. Right? That is, I think we are becoming too academic in our analysis. The fact of the matter is that mass speculations, yes, they are true. In the next 24 hours and so, things will start shaping up. Whether this was a butchered up coup or it was a smoke screen, it will come up. And I think then we can actually deal with it, knowing very well that we have got now informed decision to move forward. As for opposition, I don't know why people are always castigating opposition. This is a coup by the army.
Yes. All right. This is a coup by the army. We are not disputing that. But if tomorrow Mnangagwa calls Tsvangirai and say, "Come, let's make a unity government," will he go into blankets with them?
I think this is where. And we have said no to that. We are not talking about the ZANU-PF inviting us. Okay? If you look at it at the moment, the situation on the ground is the regional leader.
Hello?
Regional leader, SADC. No negotiations. Right? These are the brokers. If it's SADC, I'm not talking about ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is, they've got their own problems. Right? We are not interested with that. If it's SADC or African Union, whoever are actually making those sort of, at the moment, mediations, they invite the opposition, okay?
Yeah.
To the table. Yes, we will. Whether we will be there to prop up ZANU-PF, the answer to that is no. We, in the interest, both in the interest of democracy of the people that we represent, we will be there in the negotiation if we are called, not by ZANU-PF, but by the mediators.
Okay.
And whether we are going to accept, it depends with what is on the table, what is there. If it is to implement the reform for the purpose of coming up with a credible elections, what's wrong with that?
Okay. Batai makadaro pane wamwe wagara when awa apa uri kunetsana nemaiki yawo inga isikuita. Mukoma Dinte, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening. Would you like to contribute?
Yes, good evening, DJ Sodza, and thank you all panelists. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about what's happening in Zimbabwe. My take on, I'm not sure which question you are dealing with right now, but I just wanted to make a few comments. First of all, I believe in time and chance. We've been trying so hard for the last 37 years to have a change in the political climate in Zimbabwe, and many people tried and failed. And it so happens that this is what, for the first time, we feel in 37 years Mugabe can go. So the non-coup that is happening, to me, it's a very good thing. I'm very happy with it, and I thank God that this is happening. You cannot. We can pray, we can do all kinds of things, but some things happen at the time when they are supposed to just happen, and it's a good thing. You cannot fault even Dr. Mai for what she did, because that led, people write essays about ice cream. I think we've seen it on the WhatsApp. ice cream, how it contributed to do this. In 1917, the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, they said it was caused by bread. Simple things can create great changes. So what has happened in Harare is historic and is very good for us. The second thing I want to say about the future is the people who are doing these negotiations, Chiwenga, the army, Mnangagwa, Mugabe, they are all ZANU-PF. We all know that. And they all have their own interests, which have nothing to do, in some respects, the rest of us. However, we, the people, have to play our part. We cannot expect freedom to be given to us on a platter. We are sitting here being bystanders. And we are expecting Mnangagwa, a crocodile, to fight a snake on the behalf of wild beasts. It can never happen like that. These are predators fighting themselves and trying to find the best chance to take advantage of the prey. We have to make our own voice heard. It's unfortunate. I know some of the panelists were saying that we need to return to rule of law and so on and so on. The unfortunate thing that we find ourselves in right now is we don't have any credible opposition at all. We have Tsvangirai, who is a hero in my view, but his body is giving up now. So what do we do? What do we do? Do we just stop and just feel bad about everything? This is what we have now. This is where we are. We have to work with what we have. The only people who are not taking their position is us, the people. People should be in the streets making it known that there is no way that Mugabe can carry on again. It's a no-no. It should never be allowed again.
Okay, so yes. Mkoma, are you agreeing with people like Pastor Ivan this morning came out and say, look, people, SADC is not going to deliver us anything. ZANU-PF is not going to deliver us anything. Let's go on the streets on Saturday and demonstrate and see if the police can come and crush us now in the presence of the army there. To show the world that we are not happy with the situation in Zimbabwe. Would you go and march?
Yes. I think this is exactly what we need to do now. We need to tell the world, we need to tell Mugabe, we need to tell everybody that enough is enough. We don't care whatever negotiations they are doing. We don't care about that now. The time and chance has come. It's time and opportunity. It's this moment that the army, for their own reason, have gone in for their own purpose. But it's created the door. All we need to do now is just push the final push, so that at least we know that he is gone. Mnangagwa, no matter how we compare anyone to Mugabe, none of them are equal to Mugabe. Mnangagwa will never rule like Mugabe. No, none of the caliber of these leaders are at the same level as he is. So we know that all these who may come in, they can be replaced easily. They are more amenable. Mnangagwa, Tsvangirai, Joyce Mujuru, none of them will ever be as difficult as Robert Mugabe.
Mukoma, so what you are telling me here is what Tsvangirai says tonight, saying that Mugabe must resign. What he should have done, say, okay, Mugabe must resign, but take this opportunity. The police look like they've been neutralized at the moment. There's no roadblocks around there. It's army all over the place. So maybe, can they take this opportunity to say, right, okay, let's go in the street of Harare and demonstrate this chaotic situation we are finding ourselves in and mobilize people?
Yes, well, anything that should... In my view, we the people, if we don't take this chance to determine our own destiny, we are being cowards. That we are no better. You know, sometimes when we have these debates, most of us who are in the diaspora, we did it. We were young. We were born right at the end of the war, so we never had the chance to sacrifice. We don't know what it's like to give up your hopes, your education, your family, everything that you had in order to fight for the freedom of your country. When will it ever happen to us that we need to put our country first? When will it ever happen to us? We are all sitting out here in luxury, in simple life, switch on electricity, you've got water, you drive beautiful cars, we've got jobs, we've got food, everything we want, we have it. But our families, our livelihoods were lost in Zimbabwe. And we are not seeing that by not participating in these things, we are teaching, what are we teaching our children? That it's okay to be slaves in a foreign land when you have the chance to go and redeem your own country. No wonder why Brexit is happening here in Britain, because they are tired of immigrants. Us, who are in these countries, in South Africa there's xenophobia. They're tired of us living outside, and then we have the chance to go back into our country to play our part. But we are still finding that, no, I've got this, I've got that, I don't want to appear like a fool, throwing away my life just to go and but it's not about that. If Mugabe and all these war veterans were brave enough to know that at some point in your life you have to put the country first, why can't we do the same at this point in time? That is my feeling, my sentiment, that we may blame Mnangagwa. We cannot blame Mnangagwa or Mchangwa or any of those people for doing what they're doing. Hello?
Yeah, we get what you're saying. Go ahead. They
are doing what they were born to do. They are predators. They are where they are. They will do what they only know how to do. We can't expect ZANU people to behave any different. But the problem is us who are not ZANU, who are not doing what we should do. It's pointless to be blaming Mnangagwa and saying, why isn't he doing this? Why isn't Chiwenga negotiating on behalf of the people? We are lost when we are doing that. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
The good thing about this is the time and chance. It's the chance.
Oh, okay. Mkoma Tishu, you want to say something?
Mkoma Watara Nenya, let's demonstrate this later. Right now, members of the opposition are being dragged into demonstration at Robert Mugabe Square in support of the military. So the world can see thousands of Zimbabweans dancing and doing whatever on Saturday, apparently. So everyone has been told that there will be buses that are going to come and pick up people to Harare, even from rural areas, so that there will be a massive demonstration supporting what the military has done. And right now, you ask yourself, if the military had come just to clean up the people around Robert Mugabe, why do they need such a massive demonstration?
So, sorry, teacher, were you saying that? Did you say the opposition, or you are saying people in ZANU-PF?
People in ZANU-PF and others in opposition.
Sorry?
And others in opposition.
Oh, others in opposition, okay.
Not the opposition as parties, but their membership, which means the opposition are not speaking to their members. The members are doing what I would call independent decisions.
Yeah, of course. Look. That's a democratic right, isn't it?
It is a democratic right.
Yeah, and then we also have misleading people like Mawarire and all those others. We are together with them in the trenches. Tijiti Mugabe must go. Saka vashika pa bus stop yavo. Saka now they are trying to tell Zimbabweans that this is the cause. The cause is not Mugabe. You know, so they're just trying to drag everyone into their fight. Their fight is to get Mnangagwa in. But we are not part of that. And that's very unfortunate. We are going to have people going there. Personally, I will not go there and demonstrate to aid Mnangagwa to replace Mugabe. Because to me, there's no difference. I will repeatedly say that. There's no difference between Mnangagwa and Mugabe.
And mind you, that's all talk and no action. Look, you can't wait to go to military yapindira paituka ku ndoba makupinda pa road. Right? When
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And do you think the military are gonna allow that to go? There have been some demonstrations before, right? And nothing came out of the demonstration. Right? And now, because the military is actually sort of disarmed all the police and they are in charge, and you think that they will allow you now to move in?
If I can respond there. If I can respond.
I wanted to answer Mkoma or America, and don't end up back here. Unfortunately, others have got their points that they wanted to make. I was just saying, you were supporting or proposing that people right now should be demonstrating and making the world know. But I'm telling you right now, because the country is on lockdown, within the factions of ZANU-PF and the factions of G40 and Lacoste, right now Lacoste has got upper end, has got soldiers on the street. The faction that you were seeing thousands and thousands at rallies has been silenced. It's not like they're not there, but they've been silenced because the military is out there. If the military gets away, again the ZANU-PF faction and Mugabe has not been removed, are going to come out. And that is good for the opposition. Because then let them fight. If Mugabe is resisting, let him resist. Because if removing Mugabe on his own right now and replacing with Mnangagwa, as Chief Shosha is saying, is a total disaster for opposition. They will have assisted ZANU-PF to re-entrench itself when it was dying. Right?
Okay, on that note, if I can just say something, it's that I know ZANU-PF, we are treating ZANU-PF like the devil, yes, because of how misrule it has done. But there is a little spark of light in what Chiwengwa and Mnangagwa have done. Yes, they committed the same evil things that Mugabe did. I accept that. And there is no reason to even think they are better than what has been happening. But one of the things about leadership is that when Hitler was in charge of Germany, Germany did the worst things ever. Until he left, until he was defeated. There is possibility that even the army there, if people did a peaceful march with placards that just say, "Go, Mugabe, go." Peaceful. Not throwing stones or anything, but thousands of people just going with placards, just indicating to him that of all the decisions that can be done, for the benefit of the governance of Zimbabwe, where the ZANU-PF maintains power.
Let's have the conversation.
Okay.
How does that help Zimbabwe if it entrenches Mnangagwa, a person of similar traits as you have said yourself?
It helps him. It helps him because it helps us. Because the way Zimbabwe structure is right now, what we need is that if Mnangagwa, for example, came in as an interim president, as they have proposed. I like the idea that they have proposed, that he will come in as an interim president, 2 vice presidents, Dabengwa and Mjuru, and Changira is part of.
Hold on.
Let's say that happened.
Hold on. Look at it on a factual basis. There is no constitutional provision for what you've just said. Right now, the army is trying to make sure that everything is legitimate. If Mnangagwa comes, he has to hire from within ZANU. There's no obligation for Mnangagwa at law to hire the opposition to pacify them. If he decides that he wants to hire Dabengwa, he'll have a problem internally. So the next person you'd have to put there is Kembo Mohadi, if he wants to have a Zipra element. Can I just ask you something? Replacing Mugabe with Mnangagwa Nkoma is replacing like for like. Nothing changes.
Yeah. Can I ask you something as well?
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of demonstrations, when you are demonstrating, what are you trying to achieve? What's the purpose of demonstration? Maybe
in this case, you are making a stance in terms of the negotiations that we, the people, say that Mugabe must go. Whatever decision they try to do, and he must go now. Not this thing about the Congress.
Yeah.
Right now, he must go. He has to resign.
DJ Sodza,
Okay, please hold on. Sally, please go ahead.
Right. Okay, now I'm going to speak from the street. Forget Titch and Fefe, they're very highfalutin. Okay? The reason why demonstrating now is one of the worst things that can ever happen. You are dealing with an army, okay, that is so touchy that you could be taking thousands of people and putting them in harm's way. I don't see the army, the way it is at the moment, number one, ever allowing that to happen. Number two, I don't see it as anything wise whatsoever, because the army is so touchy, so on edge, and so nervous. Okay? It is not a good thing to do. Please listen to what I'm saying. It's not a wise thing to do. I know that it would be fantastic and everything, but you can't guarantee not even 50% that those demonstrators are going to be safe, no matter how peaceful they are. That doesn't matter.
But it's between a rock and a hard place.
No, it's not between a rock and a hard place. Listen to this. Please, let ZANU-PF play out its game. Okay? We can't get involved, because what's going to happen is it's going to go absolutely penga. And then we, the people, are the ones that are going to suffer for ZANU-PF's game. Let them play their game. Let them suffer themselves. Please.
And
please.
Also,
can I step in, please?
Please don't put people's lives in danger like that. Please don't.
A quick one. The purpose of a demonstration is to draw an awareness, both nationally, regionally, and internationally. Now, the army has already done that. Right? The whole world is now watching on what is happening in Zimbabwe. So as far as the demonstration, it is insignificant to do a demonstration now in the current scenario. This is my observation.
All right. Okay.
On that last statement, if I can just comment on the last one about drawing attention. Doing a demonstration, yes, the army has drawn the attention. But one thing the army has not done is that it hasn't placed the people in danger. So, the people from outside, let's say the West, for example, even SADC or anybody, no one can, the statement that's coming out right now that's saying don't interfere in Zimbabwe business, right? It's going on, people are saying that. But the reality is that the ZANU-PF, whatever they do, no one else can control what they're doing except external forces come in. If people go on the streets and make a statement and march, then that will alert even all parts of the world that if people are mistreated, the ZANU-PF, Mugabe, everything.
Bro, you want people to be killed, you want people to be beaten
up. You can't do
it,
please.
Please.
It's not killing people.
Do that.
It is killing people. It's putting people's lives in danger.
Can I say something, DJ, there?
Okay, Mukoma, a little bit.
I think in this particular case, I agree that there's always been sometimes violence and so forth. But if the army itself is the one organizing this demonstration on Saturday, and people come out in support of it, I honestly don't see why they would want to beat up people. So this particular
case, army is organizing it, that's a different story.
Yeah,
but if the people are organizing it,
they want to have the demonstration.
No,
can I just finish there? Can I just finish, please? The point here, where
the army that is calling for a demonstration, it's Mawarire. People.
Well, okay. I understand the army is also keen to have a demonstration. That's my understanding as well. But
that will never happen. The army will not demonstrate or act. The army won't demonstrate.
Okay, can I just finish there? The point here I'm making is that if the army is supporting it, they will let it go. If war veterans, for instance, are supporting it, they will also let the demonstration go. But the point we are making here is that, and on this point I agree with Teach, the point here is what we must be careful about is to be seen to be supporting what is the internal politics of ZANU-PF, because that will seem to endorse that we want the one faction versus another. Our choice here is not choosing the lesser of the three evils. Our choice is we want to end the dictatorship and have a democracy. Getting Mnangagwa will not end the dictatorship. It will just be the flip side of the same dictatorship. That is the point that we've got to realize here. If we're going to have a demonstration, let it be separate. Don't mix the two, because once you show that you're supporting
there is no way we will be you're going to separate those two.
Think that you're supporting the dictatorship. Period.
Right. There's no way you're going to separate the two, because these people, the objective of them getting in the streets, according to Mawarire, is to show support of what the army did.
Exactly.
So, what the army did,
that's what I'm saying as well.
To do is to prop up one candidate of ZANU-PF, who is Mnangagwa. So you cannot separate the two.
No, but the purpose is also to get rid of Mugabe. That's the main thing. It's not about Mnangagwa. No one cares about Mnangagwa. None of us care about Mnangagwa.
You see, this is where you people are losing it. It's not to get rid of Mugabe. Mugabe is not, he is just one of the problems. The problem is ZANU-PF.
ZANU-PF, it can't be about
Mugabe. You're getting rid of Mugabe. You're getting rid of Mugabe, and then you're going to put the orchestrator of all the things that have happened in Zimbabwe, all the violence, all the killings and everything. You're going to put the orchestrator in power. Ah, please.
But you can't remove ZANU-PF without international involvement. You can't remove.
You can. You can. Listen. The freedom fighters, please, Titch, please. The freedom fighters removed a white regime that was being supported by 3/4 of the world. Okay? They didn't go to Russia and tell Russia, right, come fight with us. They didn't go to Cuba. They didn't go anywhere. They fought and they died themselves. So you mean to tell me that the young people of Zimbabwe today can't get rid of ZANU-PF? Ah, when I hear
that's why we.
Thank you, sir. That is the most appropriate response.
Sally, you are saying things which are conflicting there. You are saying that the young people. You are saying that the young people of Zimbabwe can liberate themselves. This is what we're calling. Let the young people.
No, you couldn't liberate yourselves, because before all this nonsense started, okay, how many times did people call for mass demonstrations? And how many times did the people stay away?
Many times.
They never went to those demonstrations. They never supported those demonstrations. Now you want to tell people to go demonstrate when the place is crawling with army, okay? And who does that army belong to? And who conducts that army? And is that army well fed? Is it paid well? Is it taken care of well?
So how is ZANU going to go then?
No, Mugabe is gone. Mugabe is gone.
No, but Sally is saying that ZANU has to go. How do you get ZANU to go?
Can I answer you? How's that?
Let me go. Wait until the army isn't around and you take them on like you should have done.
How do you take the...
Can I just answer one, please?
Yes.
How ZANU-PF is going to go? ZANU-PF was already dead. Otherwise, if it wasn't, the military would not have intervened. So that's one thing you need to understand. Now the military has intervened. The man that they want to put is not a popular man even within ZANU.
Yes.
He has lost elections to the opposition many times. He has a track record of even having to create his own constituents to find legitimacy. Just to be an MP. With the factional fights, you were not on radio. They lost to the Mijuru faction in Mashingo, which is his own province, to a point that the co-chairman of COPAC of the constitution-making process, Paul Mangwana, lost his central committee seat, and Josiah Wongwe and other very top, long-serving ZANU-PF hawks lost their seat in Mashingo, in the faction that he leads. So if he can't win in his own home province, he can't win a national election, which means we want them to do their own thing in such a way that they frustrate each other, and we go to the national elections next year with a fractured ZANU-PF, whether they've got Mugabe as a candidate or Mnangagwa as candidate. They will have their own Bora Msango, and the opposition stands a greater chance of a constitutional victory, and which will not be contested because they will be wishing each other to lose. Now that they've got rid of Grace, but Grace created all this opportunity for the opposition.
Okay.
So we don't want to rescue ZANU-PF by demonstrating in support of the extra arm of ZANU-PF called the military that has come to fix ZANU-PF. It's not about the national issue, it's an internal problem of ZANU-PF. Right now, if the term of the president expires, either the president 30 days before his term expires will dissolve parliament and declare official campaign on, and within the next 90 days the general election. If the president does not do that, on the day his term expires, by operation of the constitution, campaigning period starts, and the process of electing a new president starts with the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission.
All right.
But what I think is likely not to happen, excuse me, is this. I know, in my view, Mnangagwa has got ambitions, and I can compare him to Gordon Brown. He wants personal ambition to be a president. The whole reason why Mnangagwa is negotiating with Mugabe is because of his personal ambition to be a president. And this is jeopardizing the whole point of the coup. That's why this coup is a non-coup. It's all to do with him trying he's trying to legitimize a coup. He's trying to legitimize his presidency. So the problem with this now, no, the problem with him trying to do that now is that he will not allow elections. The moment Mnangagwa becomes interim head, he will not allow elections to take place. So all this talk that we're saying there will be the rule of law, we have elections in 2018.
But on what ground?
All right.
Disallow elections.
Guys, rakaindi kubate muromo. Hanzi chese chinobururuka chinomhara antika. Mukati? Yeah, but tikamubvunza yacho kai to take 4 hours to solve. Yeah, I know, but it's got time structure tikamukoma. Zvino tikata kuita 10 hours zvino zvenake.
Ask a question again if I need to answer.
The question is, you said Mnangagwa will not allow an election on what grounds? The issues currently are internal in ZANU-PF. The constitution that they are fixing is ZANU-PF. The national constitution is operating as normal Mkomo. That's why they are saying it's not a coup, because the constitution has not been suspended. The constitution they are dealing with is the ZANU-PF constitution, and this is why they want to reverse everything to 1 day after their 2014 Congress, where they started suspending each other. It's got nothing to do with the national constitution, which is the supreme law, which demands that elections be held by a specific date.
Yes, I hear what you're saying, but what I'm seeing here, Mnangagwa na Chiwengwa have not gone through all this so that Mnangagwa doesn't become president. I can guarantee you that. They have not gone through this so that they can just have a simple takeover over grace. This is not about grace. As far as Mnangagwa is concerned, it's nothing to do with grace. This is to do with Mnangagwa becoming president. And all this effort, I guarantee you, is that Mnangagwa will be the president. That is what they are fighting for. And if they're going into that Congress, it's so that he becomes president.
What Chichi is saying to you there is, this has got nothing to do with the nation. It's internal. It's within ZANU-PF fighting each other who is going to succeed Mugabe. That has got nothing to do with the country. You cannot postpone elections on the basis that, we were having a fight in our own ZANU-PF internal politics. That is
army, but you're forgetting that the army has just demonstrated to the whole country that they are in charge.
That's a myth. That is a complete and utter myth.
He wasn't here, Sally, when I explained.
Okay.
The army right now are guilty of using national resources owned by the taxpayer to settle their own partisan interests in ZANU-PF.
Right.
Yes.
Mugabe has the power.
Okay.
Finished. End of story. That's it.
All right. No, we have to end it. But about the Kondo, would you believe, has been typing here, typing quite a lot. Let me read what he typed to us. Kwanzi, we celebrate the humiliation of Mugabe, Grace, Moyo, and others. We thank the generals. However, I think Mugabe's position is very safe. He is not going anywhere. We don't want Mugabe anymore, but the generals are making a mistake of engaging with Mugabe and third parties. The generals cannot be trusted anymore regarding retiring Mugabe. I might be wrong on that, but Mugabe is game on. Opposition parties should celebrate, regroup, and focus on the agenda with little involvement in the fiasco. Tsvangirai should resist the temptation of abandoning his health recovery to embrace whatever position he could be offered. No deal, Mugabe is still on, but kudos to the army for proving to us that they are the power behind the throne. Mugabe not resigning. The military have the evidence of state capture by G40 to implicate Mpoko, Chombo, Jonathan, and Kasukwere. So army handing over power immediately to Mugabe. Facts from State House as you discuss. Right. Mkoma Jabu, quite a great, passionate discussion. Thank you so much. Right. Right. Mkoma teaching the paramos pana. Teteno mazulu hanzi wada utonditumira zvidhoma kuno kuzvashata. I'm just wondering what I've done wrong.
No, you know what happened, DJ Sodza? You didn't explain to her that when she isn't talking, she must just put her mic on mute.
Right.
Okay.
Would you like me to send the messages that I sent to her Skype explaining that?
No, but not explaining it on when you were talking to her, okay? When we were talking live.
Okay. I had tried everything because no, I can't explain that further when I'm on radio because I've explained everything and I sent it and I you know, I've been doing that for the past weeks. Sorry?
People are just passionate about what's happening in Mkoshongwa. Yes. Don't mind about that.
It's okay. I've spoken to her. It's all right.
At the same time, passionate. You know what? Some things are so easy to kanawakagara in the comfort of your home. It's so easy for all of us to say, I'm not blaming my opposition parties. Avas, as usual, kubatana voba coherent. It's because again we're feeling we are not being told and advocate for vanhu. You understand? It's lacking. When somebody says to me, Maimana, Sheila, I've got trust.
This is a disclaimer. The opinions expressed by contributors during radio call-in shows are solely those of the individual callers and do not reflect the opinions of Zimnet Radio, DJs, presenters, managers or administration. Listeners are encouraged and advised to seek the services of qualified professionals for their personal problems.
In touch with the best online station, Zimnet Radio.
With Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.